In Charisma School, a topic that we often discuss at length is in improving your mental power. But why do we focus so much on it? After all, most people want to be more magnetic, don't necessarily want to waste time developing their mind. Simply put, we do it because the power of your mind is closely associated with your personal magnetism. Before you get me wrong, having a greater mind power doesn't necessarily mean that you're charismatic or magnetic. So if you only train your mind power, your magnetism won't necessarily improve. But they are closely associated in the sense that having a control over your mind allows you to better control, train, and grow your own magnetism. Personal magnetism, as we teach it, is not merely focusing on your body language, empathy, and being nice to people. As important as all these things are, there are deeper forces at work for personal magnetism. How else could we explain the seemingly magical attraction and fascination that some people possess? It's not because they have an open body language or are friendly with strangers. Personal magnetism is a deeper force and must be trained accordingly. To develop, you must train your will, energy, projection ability, and your mind power. Mind training and the development of its power is what links everything together. Training the ability to focus and concentrate, the control over your thoughts and feelings, the ability to change your mental state, the ability to control your body, and the ability to create are all essential parts of the mind power training. Its importance is seen mostly on 5 main areas. First of all, we use it for energy control and movement. Energy is moved using your mind and your will. If you don't have enough focus and mind control, moving your energy with any kind of conviction is very hard, or dare I say impossible. Remember that in the way that we teach it in vitality and energy training, you are not visualizing or imagining some sort of energy movement. You are actually moving energy into your body. And this requires concentration and strength of the mind to actually be able to do it. If your mind is not strong enough or focused enough, you won't be able to move energy, or at least not for very long. Maybe you can do it for a few minutes, but then your juice reaches the end and you cannot continue. Then, mind power is used to increase the strength of the projection of your magnetism. In personal magnetism, you use the sources of personal magnetism to project your magnetism into the world. You use your eyes, touch, movement, space, voice, and so on to project it. All of it starts in the mind. The intention to project starts there, and it gives the initial power and boost. You also develop all those sources of magnetism individually, but the mind power gives the intention and strength to it. A weak mind can only project weak magnetism, and a strong mind always projects strong magnetism. Third, we use mind power to increase your will. In fact, they go hand in hand. When you increase one, you're automatically increasing the other. So when you train your will, your mind power tends to grow as well. And when you train your mind power, your will tends to grow the same way. They are intimately connected. All of the great authors that developed the art and science of personal magnetism wrote about this connection. Although they both grow at the same time, I recommend to isolate their workings and practice. And I follow this approach in Charisma School, meaning you actually work on your will and you work on your mind power separately. There are different exercises for both. This way, you learn how to use both in an isolated way so that you can use their particular skills in one way or the other. The projection of your magnetism always starts in your thoughts and mind. Your thoughts, and your mind in general, have a true power behind them. It's like they are alive. They help to create your magnetism and aura. Thoughts that you emit with persistence attract others of the same nature. That's the true working of the law of attraction. If you are more often negative than positive in your own thinking, you will attract negative persons to you, and your magnetism is also negative and bad. If you are more positive than negative in your own thinking, you will attract positive persons to you, and your magnetism is also positive and good. So your magnetism is conditioned by the quality of your mind and your thoughts, as we have discussed before. As much as you may think that you have full control over your thoughts and you know exactly what you are thinking about, this is only true in around 10% of your day. The other 90% you are completely oblivious to what's happening, since not only do you need to understand what are you thinking about, but also the very quality of that thought. Lastly, any magnetic person wants to improve him or herself. He wants to evolve and be better tomorrow than he was today. And improving your mind, the way you think, the way you rationalize, the way you focus, the way you read and talk, is also part of improving the life that you lead. After all of it is trained when you are trained in your mind power. Yet, it does take work. No one would complain if I said to spend an hour a day on physical exercise of any kind, or browsing the internet, or seeing any TV series or movies. Yet, 1 hour a day or training your mind seems an unrealistic expectation to ask for most people. So they usually avoid most kinds of mind training, although it's probably the most essential part of their lives. In Charisma School, the mind power is trained in all our courses directly or indirectly, but it always starts with the 10 steps to inner power training. This is the beginning of all kinds of mind training. And the new course is being released called Concentration and Mind Control, which will deal with the advanced and exclusive applications of training of the mind. Visit charismaschool.com for more information and subscribe to our free newsletter, where I share frequent articles on personal and sexual magnetism, the magnetic gaze, and similar topics.